Vanity Fair has turned on them, Piers, with a hit piece on her in particular, writing all about how she's a diva and how people can't handle working for her.
You know what's absolutely wild? When the people who built an entire empire on compassion, mental health advocacy, and escaping toxic environments turn out to be the exact toxic environment everyone else is trying to escape from. And I'm not talking about some random influencers. I'm talking about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the couple who literally fled an entire monarchy claiming they needed privacy, only to sign $500 million deals to tell everyone about how much they hate privacy invasion.
Two sources say a colleague with ties to Archetypes, her podcast, took a leave of absence after working on 3 episodes, then left Gimlet, the podcast producer, altogether. Several others described taking extended breaks from work to escape scrutiny, meaning from her, exiting their job or undergoing long-term therapy after working with Meghan. The person who interacted professionally with her says, I think if Meghan acknowledged her own shortcomings or personal contributions to situations, rather than staying trapped in a victim narrative, her perception might be better. And going on to say the prince and the starlet, according to Vanity Fair, have become local villains in Montecito. Quoting someone as saying they are the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet. They moved from England to get away from the scrutiny of the press, supposedly, and all they do is try to get in the press in the United States. So what does all this tell us?
What it tells us is, rather comically, that when you have this couple who, remember on their website, it says that they're all about compassion. They're compassionate people. They're also all about mental health and helping people with mental health. They've been very vocal about that recently, about the perils of online trolling and the effect it has on people's mental health. And yet here we are with Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the thing that Meghan was most thrilled about getting the cover of a few years ago when she got engaged to Harry, which went down very badly with the palace at the time, I can tell you. But now it reveals that actually she in particular is a nasty little bully who sends staff into therapy. Think about that for a moment. This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here. So it's no surprise to people who work at Buckingham Palace.
And now, Vanity Fair. The very magazine that once put Meghan on a pedestal just dropped a nuclear bomb of an expose, revealing what we've all suspected. Behind the carefully curated victim narrative lies something far more disturbing. Quick favor real quick. If you're even remotely interested in watching entitled millionaires get their comeuppance, smash that subscribe button. Over 90% of you haven't yet, and honestly, that's tragic. It's free, takes literally 2 seconds, and helps us keep exposing the stories mainstream media won't touch. Now, let's get back to this beautiful disaster. So here's where things get absolutely delicious. Vanity Fair, the Hollywood Bible, the publication that essentially functions as the entertainment industry's official record keeper, just published a piece that's sending shockwaves through Montecito's multi-million-dollar mansions. According to multiple sources, working for Meghan Markle isn't just difficult, it's genuinely traumatizing.
They saw and witnessed all this here. So I just showed, look, they're a pair of hypocrites, they're a pair of chancers, as the Spotify guy called them, a pair of effing grifters. And they're desperately trying to maintain some kind of future as a renegade royal couple when they're no longer part of the royal family. The royals don't talk to them. The king does not talk to his own son. None of the senior royals talk to these two. They are total pariahs in the family because the only currency they have is trashing the royal family and the monarchy. And every time they try and do something else, nobody cares. No one cared about their podcast series. Nobody cared about the polo series recently. Nobody cares about any of it. All they want to hear is the dirt. And these two for 5 years have reveled and wallowed in royal dirt for vast amounts of money. And that's what makes Prince Harry's ongoing campaign against the UK newspapers, which had another flare-up this week, so laughably hypocritical, because he talks about intrusion into royal privacy. And yet, if you ask any senior member of the royal family, who has invaded your privacy the worst, it's Prince Harry. It's the guy who gave the inside track for money to Oprah, to Netflix, to his publishers, to anyone who would pay top dollar This guy invaded the privacy of his family, and yet he has the gall to present himself as some great standard bearer of ethics and decency when it comes to royal privacy. Do me a favor.
We're talking staff members taking extended leaves of absence after working on just 3 episodes of her podcast. 3 episodes. People have sat through entire wars with less psychological damage. Others reportedly left their jobs entirely, underwent long-term therapy, or took sabbaticals just to recover from the experience of being in her orbit. But here's the kicker that makes this whole situation absolutely chef's kiss levels of ironic. This is coming from a woman whose entire brand is built on compassion and mental health advocacy. Their official website literally lists compassion as one of their core values. Harry won't shut up about the dangers of online trolling and its effects on mental well-being. And yet, according to Vanity Fair's sources, Meghan's treatment of staff has been so severe that people need professional psychological help to process it. You literally cannot make this up. It's like finding out the head of PETA runs an underground cockfighting ring. One source, someone who worked professionally with Meghan, said something that cuts right to the bone. I think if Meghan acknowledged her own shortcomings or personal contributions to situations, rather than staying trapped in a victim narrative, her perception might be better. Translation, if she stopped blaming everyone else for literally everything and took some accountability, people might actually tolerate her. But accountability requires self-awareness, and self-awareness requires looking at a mirror and actually seeing what's reflected back. Now, let's talk about the beautiful hypocrisy of their Montecito situation. Remember, they moved to California specifically to escape media scrutiny. That was the whole pitch, right? The British press is so mean, we need privacy, we need peace, we need to protect our mental health. Fast forward to now, and according to local sources, they're considered the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet by their own neighbors. People in Montecito, where discretion is practically a currency, are openly calling them out for moving there supposedly to escape press attention, while simultaneously doing everything humanly possible to stay in the press. It's like someone claiming they're allergic to peanuts while chugging jars of peanut butter. The bullying allegations aren't new, by the way. Back in the UK, there were serious complaints about Meghan's treatment of palace staff. Real people with real careers filed real complaints, but those got buried under non-disclosure agreements and strategic PR moves. The palace, being the dignified institution it is, didn't feed those stories to the tabloids. They handled it internally, quietly, professionally. But the whispers never stopped. And now, years later, on a completely different continent, the exact same pattern is emerging. At what point do we stop calling it coincidence and start calling it character? Here's where Prince Harry's role in all this becomes genuinely fascinating. According to the Vanity Fair piece, neither he nor Meghan showed up to their multi-million-dollar deals with actual ideas. Like they secured these massive contracts with Netflix, Spotify, and everyone else, then apparently looked at each other and went, "So, now what?" One of Harry's proposed ideas for his podcast was getting Vladimir Putin and Mark Zuckerberg on to discuss childhood trauma. Already absurd, right?